Welcome to Research Business Daily Report, made possible by RBDR's exclusive community at Patreon.com. If you're a regular viewer of our series, we would really appreciate a visit by you to Patreon.com/RBDR. I'm Bob Lederer. You will, of course, recall that David Aaker did a commentary for us last week about signature storytelling, and in it he said that it is so powerful and so much more effective than any other marketing method. But even David Aaker concedes that perhaps you can have too much of a good thing. So today we pick up where we left off, and we turn David loose to explain how to avoid what he calls story overload. David?
And one of the organizational difficulties is to support story overload. So if you are there in terms of presenting great stories, you could get too many of them. You know, there's companies that have hundreds. There's companies that have created 100 a year. So you get overwhelmed with these quantity of stories if you're a customer or an audience or if you're somebody that uses them within the organization. You get overwhelmed. And so one of the challenges is to deal with that. And you deal it with there's a lot of ways we can go about it, but you can prioritize. You can have screening so you don't have stories that aren't signature stories. You can have a library that the stories are coded, so if you need a story for this context, that you can readily obtain them. So there's ways to deal with it, but you really have to address that problem in order to have a program that works. The more stories you have, you add freshness, you add vitality as you go along, but and if you can package them right, they can be instead of overload, they can form a coherent whole. Let me give you an example. Molson Beer in Canada once built a hockey rink high in the mountains, and this rink was very difficult to build, and they did it because hockey is kind of the symbol of Molson Beer. They're for hockey lovers, and as a part, the goal was to provide a special hockey game for people in Canada that were really passionate about hockey, and so they selected 12 people to come up and play a hockey game there, and they had the Stanley Cup was at part of the surroundings, and it was really special. So you have a master story around the concept. We're going to build a hockey rink in the sky. And then there's a story around how they actually did it. There's a story around each or several of the participants that ended up being participants, and they had amazing stories about how their background in hockey and why they were passionate about hockey and why this was special to them. These are really amazing stories. And then there was a story about the game itself that they had up there. And so there was a constellation of 7 or 8 stories, and I call that a meta story. A meta story. So it's a combination of these stories that combine to, as they come out, they'll enrich the basic story and make it larger and more impactful. And they're able to look at it from different things, from the fascination of actually building a rink in the mountains to the emotional content of some of these players.
That's your Research Business Daily Report, made possible by members of RBDR's exclusive community on the crowdfunding platform known as Patreon.com. We continue to hope that RBDR will be attracting new users and people who will become patrons. We produce RBDR under that premise, and a growing number of viewers out there have done just that. We've experienced great appreciation for the novel news insights and commentary that we deliver every week. It's easy to overlook how small contributions, for say $5 a month, from hundreds of the thousands of individual viewers that we have could help us really continue RBDR for a very long time, as well as our new RBDR podcast. It's up to the current RBDR patrons who so far have been carrying the load. They represent many different sectors of the research marketplace, including some that are individuals versus companies, research businesses of very distinctly different sizes, widely varied types of research that people are doing out there, client, supplier, and support services in the research field, and researchers who exist all over the world. Of course, a special thanks to our latest patrons, Jeff Spitzer and Henry Chan. So, hey, you out there, yes, you've been watching this RBDR today and you've gotten this far, and we're so pleased that you have found value in what we're doing today. You could be doing something else right now, but you've made the decision to follow through and watch the end of this video. So you've got your reason, I would say, to become an RBDR patron, and we hope that you'll please join our community today by visiting patreon.com/RBDR, where you can select the level of patronage that really works for you. Whatever the level is that you decide to opt for, we want to say right now ahead of time, thank you very much. Have a great research day, and we hope the rest of your research week is a good one. Enjoy the upcoming weekend. We're going to be taking Monday and Tuesday off next week in consideration of the fact that it is the Jewish New Year of Rosh Hashanah. But we'll see you back next Wednesday on RBDR. Until then, thanks.